So I thought it might be helpful for us to at least have a conversation if you're wanting to do that.
Alright, well, I'm going to record it for my own safety and for my own good.
Okay, yep, I'm recording as well, so we'll both have a copy.
I just don't understand how nobody could ever get any criminal charges when I was attacked in my home.
Yeah, so I'll just take a minute and just explain a little bit. So obviously, the night of this incident, it was reported to us as a shooting due to the discharge of the firearm, right? And then some of the injuries that the individual had. So we in law enforcement approach a situation like that very seriously, obviously, under that impression. In fact, our deputies had even been advised by the paramedics that the victim was taken to that it appeared he had been shot. So again, we can only function and only react to the information that we have at the time. And so that's the way we handle it, right? We have to make sure that we're doing it safely and doing it per our policy and procedures. So what happens then is we conduct our investigation, which we did, and then we turn all that information over to the Manistee County Prosecutor's Office. The Prosecutor's Office looks at all that information, and then, even though I understand you were arrested by our deputies, the ultimate charging decision comes from the Manistee County Prosecutor's Office.
And the sheriff has the power to drop these charges, though, right?
That is not true. No, what we do is we file the initial charges, we give that information to the prosecutor's office, and then the prosecutor's office is the one who actually, so let's say you're arrested for like an operating while intoxicated, a drunk driving. We make an arrest based on probable cause, which is not the standard that you think of like in the court of law, which is beyond a reasonable doubt. So we make an arrest based on probable cause. We type a report, we send it to the prosecutor, and then the prosecutor has to decide whether or not he believes or she believes that there is enough evidence there that the crime happened. And then they authorize those criminal charges. And if those criminal charges are going to be dropped, that has to be done from the Manistee County Prosecutor's Office. That's not within our control. Once we submit the report to the prosecutor, unless there's additional investigation, which we did some in this case, and we can talk about that in a minute, but that's on the prosecutor's office in order to make those decisions. Once the investigation is complete, we submit it to the prosecutor's office, and then it's in their wheelhouse.
Yeah, well, the prosecutor and the judge both ignored my 911 calls that I definitely made, and then put it in the newspaper. And I don't know when my 911 call was received in the difference to the other 911 call that you received, but I know that everything I said the whole time was ignored by everybody.
Well, again, and this goes back to my other thought on this, which is, because you pled no contest to several charges in this case, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. So the case is done. That's the frustrating thing for me is, that all these arguments could have been made, by you and your attorney during that criminal case rather than, after the fact that you took a plea to it.
That would have cost more money than I had and what I should have already had to pay to defend myself for something that I didn't even really do. I mean, I had to go in debt $30,000, and then you want another $5,000 to go to trial to prove what that I didn't do this when it's already been proved that I didn't do this.
Well, again, I don't know that there's rehashing the case. There's several opinions on it, and again, I know you're very passionate about this, and I'm sorry for the fact that you're still struggling with this after this time. I get, that you're frustrated. It's been very clear, through some of the stuff that you posted and things. But I just wanted to have an opportunity to explain a little bit from our perspective in law enforcement on exactly.
Why hasn't anybody received any charges for this besides me?
Well, again, Lenny, when we type up our report in the investigation, we give that to the Manistee County Prosecutor's Office, and then it's up to them. Obviously, you were arrested that night. All the information that we had to believe was that someone was shot, and so we went based on that probable cause. But again, that's up to the Manistee County Prosecutor's Office to read a report and determine whether or not, additional charges on top of what we already have is something that's appropriate.
So it's not the police's responsibility to protect me from 3 attackers or anything, so it's the prosecutor's responsibility to charge them for attacking me?
Well, it's certainly our responsibility to serve and protect the public. That's our whole job, right?
In your opinion, is that what you thought happened on that night?
Well, again, we can only go based on the information that we have at the time, right? So, again, I wasn't working initially when this first came in, right? So I didn't hear the initial radio dispatch.
You charged me with assault with a dangerous weapon for a weapon that they brought to attack me with?
Right. But you retrieved the firearm, right?
Rich.
I think where that charge came from. And you discharged the firearm, correct?
That would be the intent to murder and the felony firearms charges, correct?
Well, I think that was your original charges, but again, I think through our investigation and some of the...
Four felonies and intent to murder when I'm attacked in my home?
Again, we work on the information that we have at the time, and then it's up to the prosecutor's office once the investigation is complete to make that decision on what your charges are.
So if I want to file charges on these people that attacked me, you're telling me I need to contact the prosecutor?
Well, this case has already been adjudicated, Lenny. This case is over. So again, that was something that should have come up. Obviously, we submit our report to the prosecutor, and then that's an argument, as far as self-defense and things like that, that should have been brought up prior to, taking a plea agreement where you pled no contest in this case. We can't go back in time and do it over again. It's the case is done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, by we, I mean you. I can't change the decision that you made to plead no contest in this case.
Right.
So again, I'm certainly not trying to sway your opinion. I just thought it might be helpful for us to at least have a conversation and try to explain a little bit about how the process works and what our role is in that process. And again, some of the rhetoric that I've seen you put out is a bit concerning. I certainly hope that you would never get violent towards law enforcement or anything like that, because I have seen some of the stuff about taking out the whole force and some of that stuff that is a bit concerning for me and for our deputies. But, I've known you a long time. We went to school together. I know you're a good person. I'm not trying to say anything like that. I just thought it might be helpful for us to have a conversation.
Yeah, maybe so, maybe not. This is just I'm just trying to prove how it plays out when you get attacked in your house. That's all I'm trying to prove.
Okay, but you came out of the house, is that right, or is that one of the facts that was in dispute?
Well, I shot the gun. The first shot was fired in the house, and if you or any other 5 police departments would have done a ballistics test, you would have figured that out, but I guess it wasn't that important considering it was a shooting.
Well, Lenny, we had the Michigan State Police Crime Lab come out to this scene and process the scene for evidence. We didn't actually process that. We leaned on the Michigan State Police Crime Lab, who are experts in these situations, to come out. They did take evidence. They took it back to the crime lab in Charvester and Grayling and did their evidence processing portion of this. Because we don't have a lab here in Manistee County, so we lean on the Michigan State Police to do the crime scene analysis for forensic evidence, and then they do the analysis.
And it was proven that nobody did ballistics in court.
I'm sorry?
It was proven that there was no ballistics test done in court.
Okay. What part of the court case was that? Was that the prelim?
I got the prelims. I got the transcripts to them both. I know what's true and what's not in my situation.
Okay, well, again, those are all arguments that would have been brought up, in a trial or whatever the case would have been had you not taken the plea in this case. I'm not sure how we move forward when that's the case, that you took the plea.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been thinking about appealing the whole thing, but I mean, apparently I had 2 years to do that, so.
Okay, and that's certainly within your.
I'm wondering why the body camera footage was never acquired. I've been doing that on my own now.
Well, the body camera should have been all the footage that we obtained through the investigation should have been available to your attorney through what we call discovery, which is something that is required that the prosecutor turn all over evidence to your attorney so that you have the full scope of all the evidence that was collected. I know part of the conversation with my front office staff was regarding our FOIA policy, which is not something that that we can just for one person or one individual change. That's just the way it is. I know the city police's FOIA policy is very similar to ours as well. I'm not sure what the tribal police FOIA policy is, but for
it said on the form I had the right to appeal the fee to the head of the county sheriff's office, Brian Gutowski.
Right. And again, that's an appeal that you can make in writing to our office if you feel like that fee is exorbitant. Basically, what we do is the FOIA statute, basically spells out what the charges are for processing video and video redaction, which is part of what our requirement when we turn over video evidence. For instance, any radio traffic that has lean information or law enforcement information network, our computer system for running driver's licenses and things like that has to be redacted out of any video. So we go by the statute for FOIA in the state of Michigan for our FOIA policy. And I think the majority of law enforcement agencies do the same thing.
Yeah. It's just I mean, the longer I look at this, the more I figure out that it's all wrong.
Well, go ahead.
I don't know how else to say it. I'm just not happy with the way this played out. I was attacked in my home. That's what I'll keep saying it, and that's what happened. I was naked in my home when I was attacked.
Yeah. Again, especially if you're filing an appeal, rehashing the facts of the case is not something that I don't think is helpful. It is, it is what it is. I understand your frustration, and that's certainly something if you file an appeal that you and your attorney, if you choose to have one, can chat about and discuss as that moves forward. So.
Well, I appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem, Lenny. Hey, if you ever have any questions, something pops in your mind, you want to chat about something else, feel free to give me a call at the sheriff's office. I'm in and out a lot, doing a lot of stuff, so if I'm not in, just leave me a message. I'll give you a call back, all right?
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Yep, take care.
You too.